Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. So, I know some of the topics of late are very advanced, but they are absolutely necessary if we are to be ready and prepared for whatever is in the future horizon. I know sometimes when I get these insights, I'm afraid to share them because I think that people are going to judge me and think that I'm crazy. And I even myself, there's a part of me that's like, you're making this bit up. That did not happen. I remember telling you that there was an asteroid vision that I had about something that's to happen in the future. I saw this trail of fire across the sky. Now, I happened today, and I believe that YouTube and the computer is actually an oracle. When I need to get deeper, more penetrating insight, it shows up in my thread. I think Spirit is using the computer as a way to give information to me. And I got a video today on the thread this morning that was about an asteroid hitting the Earth. And it's actually scientifically researched and proven. It's an asteroid that recently approached the Earth. I think it was last year, very close to the Earth. And they have named the asteroid Apophis, after the Egyptian underworld serpent, the bringer of chaos, Apophis. And they believe it's actually rotating very close to the Earth, very, very close. And its approach in the next few years, they believe it's going to be 2029. It's going to be in the Earth gravitational pull below some of the, satellites that we have in space. The man-made stuff that we have sent in space, it's going to go below at that level. And they believe that the size of it, the speed and everything else is similar to what happened 60 million years ago when all of the dinosaurs went extinct. So NASA is launching next year, 2023, a probe, sending it to wherever it is in space around the Earth and the solar system. They're sending it out to map, rotate around it, and to map what that asteroid and do study. And also, they are trying to get a sample for it. They're going to have a satellite land on it and try to collect sample from it. And I'm saying this because when I got this vision 2 months ago, I thought, again, I'm delusional. I'm crazy. This thing is. But they say in the report that they say that it will look like a gigantic shooting star. Given the trajectory that we believe that it's on right now, it's not supposed to hit the Earth, but it will look like a gigantic shooting star. And I told you, because of this, I got an insight that Spirit told me, get up, stop making yourself small. You are capable of affecting this and a lot more. There's a giant inside of you. There's a colossal being. And all of these remembrance of things I had done in the past that came at a moment where I had to step up to help people. I don't know if it's in this class. I've mentioned this before, but and before I get into actual example that actually occur, I want to talk about theories of how the universe is pulled together. First, with Einstein theories of relativity, where the speed of light, I forgot how many kilometers per hour it is, but that speed is the highest speed that any object can travel, because the closer you get to the speed of light, the denser as a mass you become. You become so dense as a mass that if you travel faster more than that, you become so heavy that you cannot move faster than that. You start dragging behind. You will start slowing down. So I wanted to talk about that the space-time continuum in relativity in the schematic of the world of relativity. However, there is the schematic also of subspace, the idea of wormhole, the idea that if the fabric of time-space if the universe is a balloon, and you're in point A and you need to get to point B at the bottom, if you do normal space-time, even at the speed of light, it will take you a tremendous amount of time to get to the bottom. However, if you bore a wormhole, like a balloon, where you push the two ends of the balloon together, you would create an opening through, and you can pass through it in much shorter time. That's subspace. The third scheme or proposal, how the universe operates, it's what is called the quantum world, the quantum field. And that has to do with subatomic particle behaving in a completely different way. Completely different. And they are actually affected by coordinate, data, and idea. Let me explain. The smallest particle, or a physical particle, or proton, which is smallest particle of light, all protons are entangled with each other. Meaning, if you have one proton here and another proton here, they are entangled with each other, meaning that even though there may be one being on point A in the universe, the other one being in point B, when point A, anything about point A changes, either it loses density, it loses speed, it starts accelerating at a certain speed, point B will react exactly the same way. It's as if the two things are one. They are not different from one another. That's a phenomenon in quantum physics called entanglement. So instead of moving to the normal relativity model, which is normal speed of light, you can only, I think it's, I forgot how many kilometers per hour or mile per hour it is. I don't have the figure in front of me, but whatever it is, if you get close to it, you become so much denser and heavier that you begin to slow down. And you can't travel any faster. It's like a gate or a barrier that the universe created so that we can't go any faster than that. Okay? When you travel to a wormhole, the wormhole has gamma rays, has all kinds of stuff in it, which is the subspace that would make anybody travel dead before they arrive on the other side. The third model has nothing to do with understanding of time and space. The quantum world doesn't understand time or space. The quantum world only understands that location A and location B are entangled with each other. Actually, they are the same exact thing. They are located at multiple places at the same time. Thus, when one side is affected, the other one is affected. And what affects thing on this side? Data, information. And if you change the data, if you change the information in point A, point B is changed immediately. So for all of the ancient, if we take that information, I hope I'm making myself clear. I'm trying to explain as simple as possible without getting complicated with the math and the scientific stuff. So the entanglement means, remember we talked about the assemblage point last week. I had said to you that we talk about it as the upper heart, which is where the mind and the heart coherence occur. Carlos Castaneda's teacher, Don Juan, sees it from behind between the shoulder blade, and he calls it the assemblage point. And he said that actually 3D awareness is nothing more than a fixed point on this bubble of light, the assemblage point, that every human being have collectively and subconsciously agreed to fix their attention to. And when we dream, we actually drift and go elsewhere. And as we dream, every dream that we have, we go to another parallel reality or world. We go to a different location on the assemblage point. And what affects it? It's a change in data. It's a change in information. And that information is changed and affected by what? Not by time, space, not by speed of light, not by subspace, but by consciousness. By the presence and the information that the consciousness shifts it into. And the moment that occurs, an effect is created, depending on the strength of your presence. So we need to understand this to kind of get a sense of what I'm going to explain next. Okay? I'm not trying to make it complicated because you're going to blank, you're going to miss this. I want to make it as simple as possible. And that presence is cultivated mostly in your dream. Because you spend half of your day actually asleep. And when you sleep during the dream, if you pay the right kind of attention and know the right kind of practice to do, in Tibetan Buddhism, they call it the practice of natural light. In the class that I'm teaching right now on Tuesday night, which is the Bardo of Dreams, I'm teaching people how to do this, how to create presence and awakeness in your dream, where you begin to become awake in the dream. And lucidity is not the purpose. It's not really for you to get lucid in the dream, although lucidity is a side effect. It's about connecting to real energy and residual self-image, the awareness of whatever state that you're in, instead of passing out and blanking out and waking up on the other side, not knowing how you get there. It's conscious immortality. It's the ability to move into a different state of awareness while still being conscious. And if you can do this, then you can accomplish incredible things. Because when the data around point A is changed and point B is affected, or in some instances in some quantum, subquantum particle, the photon is in one location, one moment it blanks out and it appears somewhere else in a different space. And that, my friend, it's because the data around the proton in the location that it is actually changed. It's just information. Information is shifted in consciousness, a different awareness comes in, and that awareness shifts you in time, space, because time and space are illusion. They don't exist. What exists and what is eternal is consciousness. And at the quantum level, if you change, if you can change the data, the consciousness and the awareness, then suddenly you create an effect that appears in time space as magical. Any questions, any comments about this so far?
Oh, Pierre, I haven't taken a single note. You know how unusual that is for me. I can't pause to write down it because I'm so busy listening. That's fabulous. I had one observation, maybe.
Yep.
The particle versus wave based on the observer. Yep. The observer then becomes the consciousness element that that makes this difference in the reality, whatever, of the outcome.
Yep.
You talked about a proton A and B being the same. They're just appearing in different spots. So if we are all individuals in this mix of representing a proton, and we're all our individual protons, that means like the proton A and B, we are all connected as well.
We're all entangled, correct.
So we have the entanglement effect clearly demonstrated that we already kind of knew about, but demonstrated through this
Yep.
scientific explanation.
Yeah, thank you, Janice, and thank you for reminding me of mentioning it's called the double slit experiment. It's the fact that, and you can Google this, I don't want to get too complicated with this, but the scientists were observing proton against a film, a very sensitive background. And in relativity, waves are different and behave very differently than an actual object. Meaning photons are particle, and they should behave like particle, and they should bombard the film in a very specific way. But when the scientists went at lunch, they were observing how and of course, while they were there, everything was happening as it was supposed to. They went at lunch. When they came back, the photon, the very sensitive film, recorded what was a wave. They left the machine on. They were in total shock. And they repeated the experiment, and every time they thought they were going to see wave, they saw wave. Every time they thought they were going to see proton, they saw proton. So basically what the scientists determined is that it is them, the observer, by the data and the expectation that they have, that are affecting what actually is registered in this reality. So it supports what I'm saying at the subquantum level. This is how spaceships are able to travel in terms of UFO. I mentioned there was a disclosure that was done this year to Congress, and they showed from the US government. The Canadian did this years ago, but they released a whole bunch of things and films. And in the film, you see this alien, this UFO in front of this pilot. And then the next thing you know, it's 600 feet up. Like a blink of an eye, just snap, it disappeared and just showed up somewhere else. That is entanglement. And the way that is changed, and the insight that I got very recently through all of this is somehow the person who is in that spaceship can change the coordinate and the data around the spaceship to now mimic or to want and desire the location 600 feet above, 600 meters above. And the moment that happened, it snapped from one space into somewhere else. Because the space-time continuum doesn't exist. Although we use it as a medium, but it doesn't exist. And that's the part that we should think about, okay? And I'm mentioning this because I'm trying to liberate your consciousness in your mind, because we're living in a matrix. It's like Neo meeting Morpheus, and Morpheus saying to him, when you ask him what is the matrix, he gave him 2 pills. One is the blue, one is the red. You take the red one, you wake up tomorrow, you forget that, you will never remember that this happened. But you take the blue pill, and I'm going to show you how deep the rabbit hole is. And of course, he took it and he awake from the matrix and realized it was all a simulation. It's not real. So it's a similar thing. That there is a different awareness that you have to have if you're trying to really be in charge and in control and really create change and transformation for yourself and for the people around you. And that space-time continuum thing and the desire to change data and information is something that I have used over the years, but it was completely unconscious. I knew it in my body because when that colossal thing comes in, all the memories are there. I know it's like the part of me that's higher, my higher self. When it comes in, it's a gigantic being. My Melchizedek identity, when it comes in, it knows exactly what to do. But it's typically directed when I'm trying to help someone. It's very powerful and very strong. But when I'm trying to do it for myself, I'm struggling. And so I'm going to the steps and the mechanics to try to explain this to you. The first thing that you need to do for you to be able, because what I'm saying is this, the assemblage point or the upper heart has in it every data, every space coordinate for everything in the entire universe in there. It is in all of you. For every miracle, every condition that you want to change, everything is already in your heart. It's all there. When I take you in meditation and you go into the blessed field and you can feel the infinity times infinity, your experience is this vastness and you're floating and you can feel all this benevolence around you. It is not outside. All of that exists in you. And every wave, every benevolent energy that you think strikes you is an effect. It's a coordinate. It's data. It's information. It can create a change and transformation for you, for somebody else. Everything that, and it seems often it's a field of endlessness, of endless potential. And it's all in there. And it's a question of you sinking into a state where you can learn how to control this. And the control requires presence, what I call presence, which is practiced in dream time, and also the connect, what the Buddhism call the practice of natural light. You have to harness this. This is the in my other training, I talk about this as the cultivation of the virtues. In Chinese Buddhism, Chinese Qigong, they call it the cultivation of energy. You have to have high cultivation, and sometimes it takes years for that to happen, where you create such presence in all of the various realm that exists in that point that you can control it. You can shift your consciousness in a different location in the assemblage point. And when you do, you not only create a miracle around you, but you can actually blank out of this space-time and blank somewhere else. That's teleportation or multi-location or any miracle that you want. I talked about the passage of the Red Sea. I've explained to you multiple times, multiple other experiences that I've had. Celidia is on the phone now, and I'm going to recall very quickly, go over. You all have heard this before. I won't go into the detail. When she was in Atlanta, waiting 3 days for flights on standby, she couldn't get in. When she called me on that third day, that's exactly what happened. I asked her, did you do the torsion field? She said, no. I was already in alignment. So it's three things. You have to be in alignment. Okay? The second thing, you have to surrender to the alignment completely. Your identity as an individual, separate from that alignment, has to disappear. You have to surrender all of your fear, I can't do this, it's impossible. The third thing, before you get to the certainty, you have to find an idea, a simple idea of the effect you're trying to create. And in this instance, it was Celidia needs to be in New York now. Now she was 48, number 48 on standby. And that was the only thought in my mind as I did the torsion field. I didn't get to number 8. I think I was at number 7. When all of a sudden she's holding on the phone. She says, oh, Pierre, they're making an announcement. They're telling everybody, I call you back. When she called me back, she told me everyone that was on standby that they benefited from this, because literally for whatever miraculous reason that the universe orchestrated, that the quantum field orchestrated, everyone got in that plane that night and made it to New York that was on standby, including her. Now, if my presence at the time had been strong enough, If my practice of natural light was strong enough, I would have wished and desired this, and Celia would have literally disappeared out of Atlanta and find herself in her driveway.
She will be beamed into a home.
It's not even beam. You blank out of one space to another.
Wow. My Lord.
Okay? It's the practice. This is why every tool that I've been giving you, all the practices I've been doing, whether it was the monadic merger, I'm trying to increase your capacity. I'm cultivating in you presence. So that when you are not, because things are now gonna really, this is where the rubber meets the road in terms of the turbulence, everything else that the planet is gonna experience. We need to stand up. The time for us to lily-dally and smell every flower, that time is past. We need to stand up. And for that to happen, we have to bring everything together. So what I'm saying is that I want you to understand what I'm saying. The presence, without all of this exercise, and I'm going to extend the dream class now, and I'm suggesting to everybody that I'm going to extend the dream class to create a 10-month series where it's the 10th Sephirot of the Kabbalah. I'm gonna extend that class now to. I hope people will take me up on this, but doing it for 10 months, where everybody focus on a very key symbol, let's say for Sephirot Kether, to dream on Kether for 1 month. Then we will do another month with the Chokmah, Bina, Kether, Gevurah, all the way down the tree of life, to really open these vortexes and practice presence. And more to the point, if I do it in a group, because the way I intend to do it is that I'm gonna only lecture for a half hour. The next hour after that will be class discussion. People discussing their dream and their mastery and their struggle. It would be an exchange. And then the last half hour will be closing meditation. And in the process of doing this, all of you, the entanglement that exists between everyone participating in the class, the bond will become stronger. Because when you're in sync and you walk in lockstep with each other, Dr. Stone did the same thing with all what he called his core group. There were 7 of them and they all ascended together. When you walk in lockstep like this with people, it actually creates because it creates a vortex that's much stronger than the sum of the parts. Anyways, so this is what I'm proposing. People have to be in agreement because it requires a level of discipline. You have to do the symbol. Yet it's not discipline, because once you are engaging in this, once you've done this for a month, it becomes very easy. Because it's become routine. It's like brushing your teeth. It becomes routine.
Here, I have a question.
Yes.
So in order for us to actually, when the time comes, go to the new earth, we need to do this as a group body, not individually. Is that correct? Is that still true?
Yes. It needs to happen as a group body, yes, because not one person can open the gate. It's a very complicated combination lock where 144,000 needs to all turn the key at the same time.
Well, at least, like, let's say 12 of us, right? At least.
Well, 12 of us for the gates that are local to us here.
Local, yeah.
Yes, but for the whole planet, it's 144,000.
But I'm just thinking for us, we need to do this as a group, and we need to practice that, if that's what you say, the same way Carlos Castaneda did, right?
Yeah. Carlos Castaneda did the same thing when he had them assigned and doing work together where they would enter each other's dream. Okay?
Right.
And you don't even have to force it. The moment you're doing the work and you're doing it together and there's this group discussion, there is something called dream echo that will happen automatically. It happens automatically.
Yeah. Okay, I just kind of want to clarify that
Yes,
that
it-
hasn't
yes.
changed.
No,
It's
that has
still
not
that-
changed. No,
Okay, okay, thank you.
it's the same. It's the exact same scenario. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that, and what I'm proposing here is that I'm trying to explain to you, and the steps. By the way, any other questions or comment about what I've said so far before I proceed?
Pierre, I was thinking about that incident also. But, you know, and when you don't think that to do something that you've given us as a spiritual, you know, exercise in a practical, you know, setting that you're in, it's because we used to think that this particular set of tools can only be used in a particular environment. And what I'm seeing you now saying to us is that each one of these things can be used in whatever situation, you know, that you're in. And that's something that hadn't even occurred to me, because I remember that incident so well. It had never even occurred to me to do the torsion field. But as you in your apartment, and you're, like you said, you were already in that alignment because that was what you were concentrating on, you know, in that moment.
Mhm.
And so the things that happened, and the backstory of that is that, yes, everybody got on the plane, and you remember 47 or 48 people is almost a third of the passengers.
Mhm.
Okay, now, and this is how beautiful Spirit worked in this instant, is because those 48 people, those seats were already accounted for, but they were on a connecting flight. So the way that Spirit moved everything around, those people were delayed.
Mhm.
They were prevented from getting to the terminal where their departing flight was, and the people who were standing by at that moment, they benefited
Mhm.
by being present,
Mhm.
because when I first went there, the list was only, remember I told you, first I was third, and then I was ninth, then I looked and it was 20, and I said 47. I had never even seen 47 people standing by for a plane, but that's how busy, you know, that airport is. But to think to use a spiritual tool like that at that point, it never even occurred to me. And now in my thinking, I would think if something came up, I would think, what tool do I have?
Mhm.
Which I never even thought in that that kind of sequential thinking before. And just a second aside, when you were talking about the assemblage point, it kept coming to me that is the assemblage point those areas where we used to, like, when have wings? Is that in that same area where the wings used to be, which now would be a vestige? We don't.
I suppose if wings were attached to us, that's where it would be. Yes, that's where they would be. But it's really the heart. It's the upper heart. It's the point of heart and mind coherence. When we do the heart and mind coherence, that's where it is. But
Yes.
we see it from the point. But the shaman in that lineage see it from the back.
Yes.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that thought came from, but it was like clarified.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you for your comments. And
Lydia, I'm sorry, I have something to say.
yeah.
Lydia, you know, when you were talking, what I was thinking of, it's sometimes when Pierre is talking, and Pierre talks about like the bus that you're supposed to be in.
Mhm.
And regarding all these 47 people that were, I mean, it was a connected flight. I mean, if you're really looking at it at a spiritual level, and if you are traveling, when I say traveling, I'm talking about the border and all that.
Mhm.
And the bus that you're supposed to be in, you're going to be in that bus.
Yes. Yes. And it
So
almost says that you could do all the preparation and someone else will make that connection.
yes,
And so it behooves you to do everything you can,
yeah,
be in that alignment all the time.
correct. Yeah,
It's just phenomenal.
it
I,
is. It is.
I'm just thinking, and
It's second in, right?
yeah, and I thank you for all those people who they were as excited as I was, and that's how one person can benefit 90,000 if you're doing that work,
Yep.
exponentially. One
Yes,
person benefit
yes,
90,000 people.
yes,
So one person benefited 47 more people.
correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Absolutely. And I just want to add to that the idea of us, again, it's the broadcast and the radiance.
Mhm.
I did this for you,
Yeah,
but what happened is that the vortex that was created benefited all these other people.
that's right. That was truly amazing. Truly amazing.
And the way
And benefit all the other people, Pierre, that probably was in the alignment to get the blessing.
that's right. And also there's something else also. When you're doing something like this, and this is the sensitive point that I want to really kind of expand upon. For me, when I'm doing it for people, it's very easy for me to find that big idea, that top level idea or concept. In this instance, Celidia needs to be in New York now. Okay? And that's the intention. And I created the torsion field. It was not even finished, maybe 7 or 8. And then all of a sudden, the miracle was already created.
Right.
The quantum field created it.
And
I
open
don't have to worry. I'm in my mind, I'm not saying delay the flight, make sure that I'm not doing any of this.
right.
It's a simple little idea. Very top level. The same way when Makshoni and the children of Israel were on the edge of the Red Sea and they wanted to get on the other side to escape Pharaoh. The only thought they had, give a safe passage.
Mhm.
Simple. It needs to be very top level and simple.
Mhm. Right.
And they didn't care if the universe blinked them from one side of the Red Sea to the other. They didn't care how the universe did it.
Right.
They were not mentally thinking, create an invisible wall, split the sea in half. They did not create any of that stuff. The universe did. Because if they tried to do this, they would fail.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the idea is to figure out a way to get that top level information. The way God created the world is by saying, let there be light. One sentence. And the entire quantum field manifested what needed to be created. And what is God? The ultimate presence. So I want you to understand this, and I want you to focus on how you can incorporate that in your life. And I have multiple struggles and experiences, particularly when it relates to things that are happening to me personally. And I'm going to tell you from my practice with this, that a lot of time it takes 2, 3, 4 days, even though I have a struggle that I'm going through, it takes 3, 4 days before I finally find that one sentence. And when I find it, it's like wall, all of a sudden, I go right in. And I'm like, oh, this is it. And the moment I do this, immediately there's a change. I mean, within hours, there's a change that's happening around the situation. Maybe the change is I am innocent. Maybe the sentence is give me divine justice. And as you create and say these things and the sentence and who actually, how do you get to these sentences? And those decrees, they are not just sentences, they're decrees. How do you get to them? It will rise within you. Spirit will give it to you. Because when you're in that quantum field, you cannot create or manifest anything from benevolence. Everything in that field is about goodness. And you will try to approximate by getting something around what it is that you want, and it will feel not right. You will try to approximate and you will decree it several hours, and you're like, it feels cumbersome, it's not right. And eventually when you get to it, it's a snap. It's like a cone where multiple ideas are piling on top of each other, and then it finally funnel in a like a needle, like a syringe. And there's a needle at the end, and that needle has one idea in it. And that's a top level idea. And the moment you're now in alignment, you surrender to that bigger, colossal awareness of who you are as a cosmic being. You let yourself go as that being, and then you now decree. Now, before you do this, and I told you this last week, before you actually start with this, you have to banish time and space in your current situation. Because right now you're stuck in a situation. In the instance of Celidia, she's stuck in an airport. So what you do if you were to do this for yourself, you would repeat in your mind's eye, or if I'm doing it for someone else, I would say, be gone time and space around me. Because I need to decree with that simple sentence. I am first decreeing that time and space and 3D reality switch off. Be gone time and space. Then the moment I decree switch off for time and space where I am right now, then I can begin now to think about the alignment of who I am as a cosmic and spiritual being, as a Melchizedek. Then I surrender, identify completely with that identity. And then the moment that happened, then the sentence I just funnel all the way up, then I decree it to the universe. And I now have the certainty that instantaneously, as I'm decreeing, it is done. In a lot of instances like this, the person is cured for whatever the problem was. In the case of Celidia, immediately there was a transformation and change. And the moment that happened, and people think you're a miracle worker. We're not miracle workers because the power does not come from me. The power is not for me. The power it comes from my higher self. I just have knowledge on how to apply natural law, divine law. Any comments, any questions? You have to switch it off. You cannot, if you feel stuck about a certain situation, let's say it's health condition, and you're in pain and you're suffering. If you cannot banish time and space for where you are right now, and then project yourself into the wellness and the healing and the repair that you need, by first connecting to the alignment of your cosmic identity. That however the pain, I remember my Kabbalistic teacher saying something that was really amazing one day, and I was in total shock, but he was right. He said, death is the greatest sham and illusion that has been perpetuated on humanity. And I remember being so shocked looking at him like, what is he saying? We're all gonna die. What does he mean? And it took me a minute to get it. I'm trying to expand you and make you break and go into a quantum thinking. Stop clipping your own wings by going to theory of relativity around time, space, circular, with all the limitation, barriers that exist, or for that matter, subspace, but by other kind of radiation, all kind of limits. When all you need to do is change data, change your consciousness. In other words, you have to go to Bardo, which is a transition of consciousness. You have to shift your consciousness from one state into another state. And I'm trying to give you step by step what you're supposed to do. That's why I focus my teaching so much on Bardo, because it's the key.
And Pierre, there's multiple Bardo.
Of course.
Yeah.
But all of them are about transition. So when you, or the Bardo of dream, when you go to a awakened state and you're going to go into a dream, that's, and here's the thing. This is why the first dream gate is about being awake while you're falling asleep. In other words, when you go to sleep, you have a certain kind of awareness. When you enter into a dream, you don't know how you got there. But to certain kind of practice of natural light, you will see flickers of images, and there's an awareness where you see one thought, one idea, one image, and then eventually you enter into the dream and you begin to have the dream. That's the first step in practice of natural light. Finding a way to remain awake while you're still falling asleep.
Oh my God. Pierre, you just say something here, and I go back to the dream that I had with my mom the other day. And it was like that. She kept on appearing and disappearing, appearing and disappearing. And all of a sudden she was there.
Yeah. So the idea is that when you're falling asleep, as you're feeling, because what happened to all of us, we pass out because we don't have presence. And we awake, we are not aware of the transit.
Yes. Oh my God.
We're not aware of the transit. The whole thing, and what is changing from 3D into 5D is a gigantic transit where 2 dimension has to be jumped.
Oh my God.
If you're not practicing this, you will not be able to make it. You're going to end up wherever the energy wants to take you. There's no control in this.
Wow.
In the church services of old, the people expect the change. And then they sing about it, they talk about it, they plan about it. They know that they're going to change. And that's what the song is. Change, change. We shall be changed. Change from a mortal to immortality in the twinkling of an eye. So you're expecting this. This is the goal. And so it's not foreign to go from, but do you have to die to know this truth? This is the question. And so you're saying, no, you don't have to die to obtain this state. You can live this before that transition, and Majesty's words were, you don't have to die no more.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to die no more.
Yeah. What
And
a
to understand is to move further away from those concepts that place you in a stupor. You're expecting to obtain that robe of immortality, and you're building for it, you're planning for it. And this is what we're doing. We're putting on that robe of immortality while we are yet in the flesh, and looking for that glorified body to appear as your normal existence. So you don't even, you just, as you said, consciously step from one realm into that next realm without that sleep that people call death. So this is, I just say, you know, it's good to have the intellect because you have the understanding. But the old folks, some of them couldn't read, couldn't write, but they could prepare even so to put on that immortality. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all those things that now I can intellectualize and, you know, speak about it this way. But I had that great expectation, came up on that. You say you took that from your mother's breast, and your faith you took from your mother's breast, whether you believe it or not. You took that from her and you built on it till you come to this greater awareness that we all shall be changed. And immortality is a state of higher consciousness than the mortal life you're living now, which has all these limitations. And so when you drop that little me and step into the big I, when you speak from that place, you shall decree a thing and it shall be. Because that's speaking from the God presence. And what God commands, the universe must obey.
Amen.
Yeah, thank you, Celia. Thank you.
So when I tell you I come from a whole long line of Baptist preachers, I'm telling you, there it is. But it's a good thing.
Yeah. Again, without the presence, without having the awareness, and I'm giving you the information, it seems like beat by beat, but they're all interconnected. They're all interconnected to do one thing, to allow you that when you are, because we go to Bardo all the time, we transit all the time. And Bardo is a term in Buddhism that means literally translated as an intermediary location between two states of awareness. Okay? It's a transit. Whether the Bardo is between inhaling and pausing and exhaling. Whether the Bardo is life and death, or death and rebirth. Whether the Bardo, and they're multi, that's all kind, or whether the Bardo is going from 3D into 5D. The rules are the same. If you don't have presence, you're going to end up anywhere. You're going to end up in the wrong neighborhood because the multiverse is immense. What is it that Jesus said? There are many rooms in my Father's house.
In my Father's house, there are many mansions.
There are many mansions, exactly.
And if it was not so, I would not tell you.
Yeah. You're going to end up where you don't want to end up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to control this, you need to learn how to control presence. And if it is, when it is something, when I'm doing this for someone else, it's very easy for me to find the sentence. Literally the very needle of the syringe. Like, it's very easy for me to find it, which is top level command and decree. But when it is something that's personal to me, because I have so many blind spots, it's very hard for me to see top level because I'm busy editing. I'm busy worried about it should happen this way. This has to happen, and then sequentially this and that or the other. And it has to happen. Whereas the simple idea top level become visible to me 2 or 3 days after, and sometimes even a week. Because I have too many attachments and too many blind spots, I can't see it. But spirit, if you're going through the exercise of going through this, realizing that I want to create this effect, I want to change the condition, I want to create this, I want to go from point A to point B, or condition A to condition B, consciousness A to consciousness B. I need, and if you keep going at it, spirit will funnel your consciousness to find the top needle idea, the top level idea, the decree. And the moment you get it, the miracle is created. Again, by these steps. First, be gone time and space. If you're doing it for someone else, as I said, be gone time and space, and I put my hand out, and in my eyes, in my mind's eyes, where Sylvia was in Atlanta, that's where I projected it, where I felt her, and I created around her, and I saw a torsion field getting created around her. And at the intention, Lydia needs to be in New York now. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but now. And as I held it like this and the torsion field was getting created, Lydia was on the phone with me. I was holding the phone with the left hand. And then suddenly she made that comment. They're telling everybody to get on the plane. I'll call you back, I'll call you back. Now, if it's for me, I don't have to put my hands out. I'm saying internally to myself, be gone time and space. If it's a part of me that's in pain, I now banish the current condition, switch off, because the pain, if you have cancer, and it's very difficult to say this because people think you're crazy, that the cancer is an illusion, that the disease is an illusion. Because it sounds like you're completely cuckoo. But from a quantum field, the cancer is data and information. And you're banishing the data and the information. And now you're going to enter into a different awareness, which is your galactic identity, your cosmic, your Melchizedek identity. As a gigantic cosmic being where nothing is impossible because you are within yourself, within the assemblage point, within your heart. Every miracle that exists is encapsulated in there. Every impossible thought, infinity times infinity, is in that space. Now get up and be the big person that you are. And at that point, you now surrender into identity, you become one with it, and then with that sentence, you now decree a different condition. You decree where you're going to land, what dream you're going to land into, what reality you're going to land into, what condition you're going to embody. Any questions about these steps? Now, we're not doing this just for ourselves. Remember, we have a circle of influence, and that circle of influence is in great need of guidance, of people who will become the gate and the doorway. Remember, Lord Melchizedek in that channeling in 2009 said exactly that. We are the gate that we are the bridge that will bore an opening into the heaven. And we are the architect and the engineers that will become the framework and the armature that will hold this piece of architecture toward the heaven. Each one of you have a critical puzzle piece role to play in holding that armature together. But you cannot do this while you're not present. Again, I'm giving you all the tools. I cannot do the work for you. I cannot grow for you. So it is up to you to apply yourself. I remember one of my teachers, this is when I was in mystery school, I was 19 years old, and he was the grandmaster of the order I had belonged to. And I remember him saying this, and at the time, it struck me as profound truth. He said, knowledge without application is perverse. So if you have all this intellectual knowledge and you're not applying it, what's the point? If you cannot share it, if you cannot somehow make a change in your life, in other people's life, what's the point of all that information? So it's a question of now embodying this by doing the work. And once the work is, you're beginning to do the work and you begin, it's a muscle. And the natural light is actually our natural state of being. It's us being pure energy, pure thought. It's us awakening to the fact that the 3D is a gigantic, mesmerizing, and hypnagogic illusion. And it's us awakening to all these facts and stepping into the laws that operate in the essence of being, which are that everything is data, everything is information. And we transit from one set of information to the next. And every location in the upper heart and the assemblage point, every direction in that ball of light that exists in that space, every location has an effect if you connect it with an intention. And it will manifest something outside of you. Not only inside of you, but also outside of you. So to go back to the idea that a UFO could be in one location to another, maybe these UFO are not even being, although there may be mechanical component to them, but maybe these UFO are not actually operating. And this is something I know from past life off planet. The UFO are not really being operated by so much technical thing, but it's technical stuff, 3D stuff that have interface with consciousness. And it is consciousness that controls it. You intend it, and the environment that is created reads it and manifests it, because the environment is in sync with you. It's not just chip and binary code. It's not gears. It's not nuts and bolts. It's all that combined in sync with quantum data. And the entire, when we go into infinity times infinity, a lot of time the meditation guide, as I channel them, is guiding you into understanding that there is a sea of endless potential that exists in there. All these potential are in the upper heart. They're right there. They are in the heart and mind coherence. And if you can connect to it, it will banish time and space. It will create all kinds of different conditions, and the realm, what we dream of creating will be made manifest when enough of us can will it together. The same way it took 3 million people to separate the Red Sea. And again, the way the Kabbalists talk about this, they keep saying all the time, at that moment in time, when Makshoni, the water, the sea was all the way to his mouth, and when he's about to drown, the water separated. When Makshoni did this, every body of water on the planet split in half. And what did they say further? Because natural law, the laws of physics, the laws of nature, obey consciousness. And consciousness can bypass these rules and these limitations. That's it in a nutshell, okay? That's it in a nutshell. The rest is for you, because all of you are struggling with something right now. You should go home and practice this. It might take you a few days, because if it's really intimate and personal to you, if it's something that's happening in your life, it's going to take you a few days to find that one top idea, that decree that will commend the change. Remember, you have to banish your current condition. Be gone time and space, and be gone the condition that I'm in right now. Then connect to the celestial part of you, your Melchizedek identity, and merge with it completely, the one that understands infinity times infinity. Merge with it completely. And then now decree the condition, the change that you desire, and watch yourself transit from where you are into the new condition instantaneously. Now, if you have a malevolent intention, and sometimes our motives are camouflaged by other things, we think we're benevolent and we have ill will, you will never get to that top sentence, because the system has a mechanism in it that does not allow malevolence to come in. When we study Chokmah in the Kabbalah, it said that Chokmah is wisdom. And it's pure pressure and pure unadulterated power, the kind of which we don't understand. But that power comes from righteousness always. In other words, the thought and the top level idea you have has to be righteous. If you're trying to hurt somebody, if your intention is not pure, it will not, you will never get to that. Because that quantum field where pure consciousness exists only allow benevolent and righteousness in. First of all, somebody that's benevolent will not understand the conversation that we're having right now. Because when you're connected to your ego, what I'm saying is way too abstract. You will not be concerned. You will think that what I'm saying is all rubbish. When you have personal agendas, you will think that everything I'm saying now is nonsense. Now, condition that may exist in your life that may be part of a ancestral curse or things that have happened in your life or all your ancestors, within an instant, you can change all of it. Because that entire story is an illusion. Even if it existed 400 to 1,000 years or 10,000 to 100,000 years, it doesn't matter. It's an illusion. Because it exists in the metrics of space-time continuum. Step up. Step up. And find the righteousness that exists in you. Create your own miracles and pass the blessing to everyone that exists around you. Any questions, any comments? All right, let us take a 5-minute break and then we'll do a closing meditation on the back end.
going to sit here and do a meditation? I'm going to sit in here. Okay.
Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Let your mind and your heart sync with each other. As you allow your entire consciousness to sink in the very core of your upper heart. It is as if your eyes and your entire conscious awareness came from that part of your body in your upper chest. You're now processing data, information, from that part of your body. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And notice what you noticed. Realize that you can perceive, know, understand, expand. 360 degrees all around. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. Become aware of any insights, expansion, understanding that this upper heart location is creating for you. Become aware of all of the blessings, benevolence, kindness, perpetual renewal, healing and repairs that exists in this point, which is a shortcut for infinity times infinity. Become aware of a personal struggle, difficulty, burden, or what appears to you as an insurmountable task. The size and the level of difficulty is irrelevant to the blessed field. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I release all attachment, fears, and control. And I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I release all attachment, fears, and control. And I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. What is the opposite of that condition, situation, or burden? In your consciousness and in your mind's eye, see the exact opposite condition. See everything unblocked, miraculously changed and transformed. What does that feel like? What kind of sensations, expansion, healing and repair is this creating in your body right now? What top level ideas decree and command is this condition of change and transformation and transmutation creating for you? What simple decree is this creating for you? beyond time and space. Banish the present condition. And let yourself now sync with your cosmic and Melchizedek identity. The colossal giant that is you. Now decree your simple command. And know in every fiber of your consciousness, in all time and space, that it is instantaneously done. As an additional supportive methods, create a torsion field around the desired manifestation and outcome. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Take a very deep and slow breath. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Celia. You're welcome. How are we all feeling?
Good.
Thank you, Pierre. That was really so helpful. I wouldn't mind in
Yes,
good
yes,
time if you wouldn't
Yes.
mind getting a copy. Thank you.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
Right.
the 6 o'clock class last week. Did you send it? You didn't send it, did you?
Yes,
You did?
yes.
I didn't get it. I got the council class, but not the 6 o'clock one.
I did send it. I'll look and I'll resend it to you.
Because they all interrelated, those 3 classes.
Mhm. Okay. No problem.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right, everyone. I want to thank you for your attention. I know I'm asking you to grow up quickly. I've given you all the tools for many years now. Some of you have been with me for more than 10 years. I've given you a lot of information tonight, and I'm putting it all together. When done correctly, this should feel like breathing, and it should be effortless. It shouldn't be an Herculean task where if you're applying effort and it feels like you're being atlas and you're pushing it, you're doing it wrong. It should feel simple and effortless. And when you get in that alignment where these 3 things are together, it's literally and energetically, you feel something shifting you somewhere else. Like you've moved from one location energetically into something else. And when that happens, the miracle is created. I want to thank all of you that are listening to me on Patreon for your support. On YouTube, I want to thank you all for listening to us today. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, increase the algorithm by sharing it with other people. Love you very deeply, and I'll continue the conversation and give you as much information as I can the following weeks. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Pierre.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night. Good night, Pierre.